don't see it, but it's right there in front of you. You don't see it, but it's right there in front of you. You don't see it, but it's right there in front of you.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. My name is Arah Rakah, and I have with me here Maka Allah Anal, the Meek One, coming to you from the GOCC Jordan area. I'd like to say, Ma Shalom Ka'ak. Anya Basada Gam. Shalom, everybody on the line. The name of today's lesson is The Secret Place According to the Most High and Not Man. We're going to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory to AHAYAH, Ashor AHAYAH, Bahashem Yeshaya, Wawa Kadash. Let's say the Shema real quick. I hope everyone has their heads covered, all women and all men have their heads uncovered. Salakia for that. Let's do the Shema. And we're going to have Maka Allah lead us off with that.
Father AHAYAH, in the name of Yeshua, we ask that you send the Holy Spirit upon us. Shema Yasharala AHAYAH ALAHAYAH Nawa AHAYAH Achad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one. We're going to go into just a little bit about what's going on in the earth today, and we're going to really go in depth today on the secret place and the holy mountain, and give some scripts to back up what's going on in the earth today. So about a week or so ago, I don't know if anybody has been paying attention to the news, but the U.S. declared Iran's military a terrorist group. And that is very, very significant, along with all the natural disasters going on all across the earth, fulfilling the Most High's prophecies. Also, just recently, within the last couple of days, Iran also declared the U.S.'s military a terrorist group in response to what the U.S. did. And the U.S. has put a lot of nations on, alert to, they were under a grace period. And they gave them a certain amount of time to stop buying Iran's oil. So news reports are that the war with Iran and the U.S. has secretly already started. The U.S. is bombing Iran oil tankers trying to go to and from Syria. You know, the war started in Syria, but it's starting to spill out now with Iran getting involved, U.S., putting Iran more involved in it. And Russia, of course, is going to jump in along with North Korea.
The other developing story, the U.S. sending an aircraft carrier group to the Middle East to send what it calls a clear message to Iran. The USS Abraham Lincoln and support ships have been dispatched. The carrier was due to dock in Croatia on Wednesday. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says it is in response to troubling developments in the region. The latest U.S. effort aimed at increasing pressure on Iran. Gabriel Elizondo is live for us in Washington. So, Gabriel, this is part of a White House statement that was put out that explains this further. What did it say?
Yeah, it's a very unexpected and unusual statement from the White House. It came a little bit before 9 p.m. local time here in Washington on Sunday night. Totally unexpected. The statement was short, but it did mention that, and it's from John Bolton, the National Security Advisor, but it said, as you mentioned, the U.S. is going to be deploying the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Force Group. It's an aircraft carrier plus some ships around it, plus some bombers to the Middle East region. And I want to read part of the statement that's key. It says, they're being sent to the region to, quote unquote, send a clear and unmistakable message to the Iranian regime that any attack on the United States interests or on those of our allies will be met with unrelenting.
So we have some scripts today that we're going to start with to show, just where we're at in Bible prophecy with what's going on in real time. We're going to start off in the book of Isaiah, chapter 62 and verse 1, and we're going to see where these current events are playing out in biblical scriptures. And we're going to start off with how the Most High is not going to be silent any longer dealing with the nations and with his children. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, and we're going to hit the first verse, and then we're going to go over to the 42nd chapter. Go ahead, Al.
Isaiah chapter 62, verse 1. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth.
Okay, so let's go to chapter 42, and we'll hit verses 13 and 16. We got a couple precepts on how the Most High is not going to be silent any longer. And we can see this happening with the natural disasters happening all across the entire earth. Because time is really coming short. Whether we have a month or whether we have 5 years, no one knows, but we can see by the signs in the earth that time is running out. Okay,
Isaiah chapter 42, verse 13. The Most High AHAYAH shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry.
He will stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry. Go ahead, Ak.
He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies.
He will prevail against his enemies. He is going to stir up jealousy. Remember these words, because you're going to hear this as a recurring theme in these scriptures. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 14. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once.
Okay. For a very long time, he has held his peace. He has been still and refrained himself. But now he's going to cry out like a travailing woman and will destroy and devour at once. Go ahead, Al.
Verse 15. I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up all their herbs, and I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools.
Okay, so we can see these things going on, taking place in the earth as we speak with more and more intensity. Go ahead, Al.
Verse 16. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known.
Okay, the blind. We were all once blind. He opened our eyes to the truth and to who we were as a nation of people. And he will lead us. Okay? He will lead us in the paths that we have not known. All we have to do is follow. I know it's always scary to go in new directions and new paths But we have to trust in our Heavenly Father that He has our best interests at heart. Go ahead, Art.
I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them.
He will not forsake us. You know, that is His promise. He will not forsake us. We're going to hit one more precept in this in Psalms. Well, not one, but we're going to go next to Psalms chapter 50. And we're going to hit verse 3, and then we're going to skip down to verses 16 through 21. The Most High is done being silent. He's held His peace for a very, very long time, and that time is up. And He's showing it throughout the earth as we speak. The entire earth. We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 50. We're going to hit the 3rd verse, then we're going to skip down to verses 16 through 21. Go ahead,
Psalms 50, chapter 3. Our power, AHAYAH, shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him.
Okay, remember that verse. He shall not keep silent. He shall be a fire, shall devour before him. Skip down to verse 16.
Verse 16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee.
Because we hate instruction, and we've cast His words behind us. Like we don't have to do with that. That's in the past. We can do it our own way. Go ahead.
When thou sawest a thief, then thou contentest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers.
We have been partakers with adulterers.
Verse 19. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes.
Okay, because we weren't getting chastised immediately for the things we did, we thought we were getting away with it with the Most High. But like he just said, because he didn't say anything and he kept his silence, we thought he was just like us. Big mistake. Big mistake. Thanks for those scripts. We're going to skip over and hit a precept, some more precepts to that, which is in Jeremiah chapter 50. We're going to hit verses 23 through 32. Because we were getting away and not getting chastised immediately for the things we done, we thought it was all good with the Most High. It's all good because the Most High ain't stepped to me. So, my deeds are okay. Well, he's done with all that. And he's about to bring some fury. We're in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, starting at the 23rd verse. Go ahead,
Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
How is the hammer of the whole earth, the nation that has the number one superpower, been cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation amongst all the other nations? Go ahead.
Verse 24. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found, and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Most High AHAYAH. Verse 25. The Most High hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Most High AHAYAH of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans.
Yes. He has brought out, he's opened up his armory, and he got a whole armory full of weapons for his indignation. And it's all coming towards that hammer of the earth, the number one superpower. Go ahead.
Verse 26. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly.
Come against her from the utmost borders. Go ahead.
And destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left.
Destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation.
The time of their visitation has come. Woe unto them. Slaughter all of her livestock. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but all those floods in the Midwest and all that, all you see is dead cows floating around, all the livestock, dying off from these natural disasters. He's already started, and he's not keeping silent, not a day, a minute longer. Go ahead.
Verse 28. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Most High AHAYAH, our power, the vengeance of his temple.
The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon. I mean, all this, we got to come out spiritually, and that's all we need to do. We done read over these past 3-4 weeks several different scripts that say to flee and escape out of the land. Okay? That's a physical action. Once again, like, to be complacent is not what the Most High is commanding his people to do. Go ahead.
Verse 29. Call together the archers against Babylon. All ye that bend the bow, camped against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done. Do unto her.
Okay, hold that thought right there. Let thereof none escape. Okay? When that thing starts off over there, the Most High has commanded that don't let nobody escape. So if you don't get out beforehand, the Most High help you, because he's already ordered a recompense according to her works, according all that she hath done. Let none thereof escape. Go ahead,
For she hath been proud against the Most High AHAYAH, against the Holy One of Israel.
She's been very proud against the Most High AHAYAH, our Holy One of Israel, with all the numerous abominations going on over in Babylon. I mean, it's just smacking the Most High in the face every day, every hour of the day, and he's sick of it. Go ahead,
Verse 30. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war should be cut off in that day, saith the Most High AHAYAH. Verse 31. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Most High AHAYAH of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. The
U.S. is very proud. They sit alone, and they feel that can't nobody come against them. You know what I mean? And we're going to read more scripts to clarify that. But man, it's going to be like so much devastation and so quickly that nobody's going to be able to respond once it starts. Go ahead.
Verse 32. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him.
Okay. A fire, once again, shall kindle and devour all round about them. We just read that script in Psalms, I'm pretty sure it was. So let's see. Let's go back to Isaiah and see how this is hitting real time with the U.S. and Iran, so that we can get a clarity that this thing is really happening in real time. Let's go to Isaiah 13. And we're going to hit verses. We're actually going to skip through chapter 13, but we're going to start up at 17 through 19, and we're going to read downward. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verses 17 through 19. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
Okay, the Medes is Iran. For anybody who don't know, you want to look that up. That is another name for Iran.
Soft landing? That was pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah, one thing that our viewers and listeners need to understand about this situation with Iran is we're not dealing with some sort of backwoods, power that you'll barely out of the Stone Age. Iran is capable of long-range missile strikes. They have a formidable Navy presence there in the Strait.
Iranian Guard is no joke.
They are technologically advanced. They are not going to be a pushover.
No.
And any conflict that we go into with them, Rick, is not going to be we're chasing them through the caves.
It's not going to be Iraq.
Desert.
It's not going to be Iraq.
It's not going to be Iraq or Afghanistan. This is going to be a technology war that's coming up.
They're not the Iranians. They're the Persians.
Mm-hmm. Yes. As in the Persian Empire?
Yes.
That ruled for thousands of years?
Yes. They've been around. They're in the Old Testament Bible.
Right.
They've been around for a long, long time. They're called the Persians. And the United States is itching for a war with the Persians because America's puppet master, Israel, wants to use American soldiers, American blood to fight Israel's enemies.
American sanctions.
Yes. Hey, I said it. Israel uses American soldiers' blood to fight Israel's wars. Someday, Americans, you're going to stop giving your sons up to Israel.
Go ahead,
Verse 18. Their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. Keep going. Verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, should be as when the Most High AHAYAH overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay, so let's go from there down to 15 and 16. Same chapter. We're in the same chapter, book of Isaiah 13, skipping down to 15 and 16.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 15. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. And today, the modern day sword is a gun or military weapons. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished.
Okay. Children also dashed into pieces right before our eyes. Our houses shall be ran up in and spoiled, and our wives ravished. It's a clear indication of what is about to come. I mean, Iran, I don't know if y'all watched the video that was out recently or the news clips. There's probably sleeper cells, terrorist cells already in America, just waiting for the moment to start. Just what we're reading right now. Let's jump down to verse 5.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Most High, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
They're coming from a far country, from the ends of heaven. Let's get one more verse out of there, verse 3.
Verse 3. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness.
Okay. We have to do what the Most High is commanding us, which is get out the way. We're going to stay in Isaiah. We're going to go to the 17th chapter and get some more on what's going on real time as we speak. Book of Isaiah, chapter 17. And we're going to hit verses 1 through 7. This is what's going on before the U.S. declared war on Iran, what was going on or still going on in Syria. They're bombing Iran tankers in Syria. So this thing is still taking place in Syria, in the area of Damascus. And we're going to see how the Most High predicted this several hundreds of years ago. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 17, verses 1 through verse 7.
Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city. It shall be a ruinous heap.
Damascus is taken away as being a city. I don't know if you guys been keeping up with the news, but they bombed the crap out of that place. It looks like a wasteland right now, you know? And it's just all about fulfilling the Most High's prophecies. Now look what's going to happen to our people as this is going on in Syria. Go ahead.
Verse 2. The cities of Aurora are forsaken. They should be for flocks, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
Okay, let me get you a little description on Aurora. Is a biblical town on the north bank of the river Arnon, to the east of the Dead Sea in present-day Jordan. The town was an ancient Moabite settlement. Go ahead.
Verse 3. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They should be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Most High of hosts.
Okay, and you know what's significant about that is all those refugees fleeing Syria, guess where they coming to? They all over here in Jordan.
Facts.
Yep. They here right now in Jordan, fleeing Syria. Just like these scriptures say. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean.
Okay. So in that day, when you see these things happening, it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob, which is us, we are the seed of Jacob, shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. That means
all
that
federal territory
a lot of
in case
us
of
are
a
going to
national
be getting
emergency or civil
knocked
disobedience.
off, killed,
In addition, this act
and not surviving this thing because for whatever reason they didn't listen to the prophecies or the warnings, and this is a time that we will wax lean. The fatness of the glory of Jacob will wax lean. This is not a good time for the majority of our people. 2/3 of us will get knocked off before they even make it to the wilderness. 2/3 of our people are not going to survive this.
It's Jacob's trouble. Better wake up.
Jacob's trouble. And it's time to wake up and do like the Most High is guiding us to do. Go ahead,
Verse 5. And it should be as when the harvest man gathereth the corn and reapeth the ears with his arm. And it should be as he that gathereth ears in the valley of Rephaim.
What's going to happen? What's it going to look like? Let's go to verse 6.
Verse 6. Yet gleaning grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outmost fruitful branches thereof, saith the Most High AHAYAH of Israel.
Okay, so this scripture is reading, saying clearly, it's going to be like someone shaking an olive tree. It might be 2 or 3 berries left in one position of the tree, and maybe 4 or 5 left in another position, and the rest of the tree is barren. So this is the time to get out of Babylon and wherever else you've been scattered and get into the zone, the safe zone, in Jordan, waiting to go under the holy mountain, being in position in Jordan to avoid the destruction coming upon Babylon. Babylon is going to be destroyed long before these other nations are destroyed. As we read earlier, the nations are going to be wailing Babylon. How did it happen? How did the U.S. get taken down like that? The #1 superpower.
May I add on to that?
Yes, you may.
Jordan is the borders, so it's also the place of preparation. So you want to come to Jordan to prepare yourself
for the wilderness.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because the safe place is the wilderness, but Jordan is a place of preparation.
Right.
And it's safe for the time being.
Absolutely.
But the safe place is the wilderness and the holy mountain.
Absolutely. Like it says, like all these other nations are rising up and choosing sides, Jordan is like a neutral spot. You can see it. Just look at the news reports. All around Iran, Syria, Russia, Turkey, all these other nations around gearing up, and Jordan's just staying neutral. Israel's in it on one side, Iran's in it on another side. All these other nations around Jordan are gearing up, and Jordan's just right there neutral. Ain't nobody with Jordan, ain't really with them or against them. They just sitting here neutral, just like the scriptures say it would be. Go ahead.
Verse 7. At that day shall a man look to his maker, and his eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel.
That's right. Because that's when everybody's going to be like, oh my God. If you wasn't religious before that, I bet you that's when you grab a book, you'll be looking for the Bible then. So let's stay in the book of Isaiah and let's see the type of destruction coming upon America. Real-time stuff here, and nobody else is bringing this stuff out. Where to go, and be safe. They just, I don't know, for whatever reason, they don't want to bring this stuff out. But let's go to Isaiah 47, and we're going to hit verses 1 through 8. We're the only ones bringing out the safe place, the zone, the ready zone. No one else wants to do it.
And no, we're not attacking no one. We are
No
attacking
one.
the doctrines.
That's right.
That's it.
We're attacking these doctrines and no one in particular. But there's a lot of false doctrines, and we're trying to get our people to know that there's one true safe place, and nobody's talking about it. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verses 1 through 8. Go ahead,
Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Sit in the dust of the rubble from the destruction. Go ahead.
Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
No more called tender and delicate.
Verse 2. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
You will not meet us as a man. Will take vengeance, and the nakedness of that country shall be uncovered. Go ahead,
Verse 4. As for our Redeemer, the Most High AHAYAH is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Verse 5. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms.
No more shall be called the Lady of Kingdoms forever.
Verse 6. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thy hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
Okay. He has polluted his inheritance. He's given us into their hands for a time, and they showed us no mercy.
Verse 7. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it.
Okay, so they sit and think that all their sins that they have committed towards the children of Israel will not be visited.
Verse 8. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children.
Okay, so Babylon, aka America, sounds just like the qualities of that nation. Thou art given to pleasures. What's the word they use out there? Do as thou wilt. You know, whatever you want to do is all about me and fulfilling the pleasures of me, whether that steps on somebody else's toes or not. This country says it in their heart that I am, and there is no other country besides me. And I shall sit no widow or lose any children. So true, so true. Let's go to the next chapter of Isaiah and hit verse 20. And this is what we need to do about this situation at hand that's going on as we presently speak. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, and we're going to hit that 20th verse.
Isaiah chapter 48, verse 20. Go ye forth of Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans. With a voice of singing declare ye, tell this, utter it, even to the end of the earth. Say ye, the Most High AHAYAH have redeemed his servant Jacob.
Okay. We are to go forth and flee from the land of the Chaldeans. This is how we escape this trouble, brothers and sisters. The only way to escape is to flee, lest we partake of her judgments and her plagues. Okay, we got a few more scripts to bring out what exactly is going on real time scripturally, and we're going to get into the wilderness and the holy mountain. Where's that at? In the secret place. So let's see. Let's go to Zechariah. After this, we're going to go into Second Esdras in the Apocryphas, and then we'll go into the place, the holy mountain. Where is that? Excuse me, exactly. And the secret place. We're in the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. And like I said, these scriptures are speaking out loud and clear, very loud. And if you don't pay attention and do what the book is saying, it's just that you chose to ignore blatantly what these scriptures are telling you to do. We're in the book of Zechariah, chapter 14. We're going to hit verses 12 through 14. We all have a choice, brothers and sisters. You know, we're all responsible for our own souls. You know, we have to give an account, like my grandmother used to tell me as a kid, you have to give an account for your own sins. And we all have free will. So whether you decide to listen to these scriptures or whether you forbear, it's all on you. Book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 12. You ready, Ak?
Mm-hmm. Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High AHAYAH will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Okay, so anybody reading that script can obviously tell that those are the effects of a nuclear blast. If you're caught in the middle of a nuclear attack, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. Read that again, Ak.
Zechariah chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got a precept for that.
Okay, we got a precept for that, y'all.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse 6 says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his works. And I have created the waster to destroy.
The waster, an instrument of destruction, a nuclear weapon. Give them that chapter and verse again for them, Oxa, so that they can write that down.
Isaiah, what I say? 54 and 6. Slakia, my bad.
54:16.
Yes, Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. I just go and do it again. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy.
Okay, the waster. We got all type of wasters out there today. I think Russia's new waster is called Satan #2. Their new nuclear weapon that they boast about that can reach anywhere on the planet. Good one, Ak. Way to bring that out, because I almost forgot about that.